All right, hi, I'm Grace Power, and I am in need of eyebrow shaping. I've been letting my eyebrows grow in here, and so I figured this would be a good opportunity to give some a little bit more information about the microwave sugar and the various options that you can use with the sugaring. Um, One option is to use the sugar as a strip wax, not strip wax, but like strip wax, and just to apply it, and then apply it with a stick, and then remove it with a strip. So that's going to be the first technique that I show, and with that technique you want to warm your sugar up the most, so that's why I'm going to start with that one, so the sugar is nice and warm. And then as I go along, I'm going to also demonstrate the stick method, which all you use is the stick. You use the stick to apply it and remove it. And then the final method will just be with your fingers or your hand to apply it and remove it. So let's go ahead and get started. I have a mirror set up right behind the computer, since the definition of the camera on the computer is not the best, so that way I can really see what I'm doing. So this is my gold sugar, and this is actually the medium firm, which because my eyebrows are pretty bushy and coarse, I like to use the medium firm on the brows. If you have fine hair, then you might be fine with just a medium or medium soft sugar. So the middle part's usually the easiest as far as shaping, because you're not really needing to shape specifically. The one thing you want to be careful of is not to go too far over, because to have a nice brow, you want to have it to line up kind of with the inside of your eye. So you don't go out any further than that. And if you don't have hair there, that's fine. Just you got to work with what you have. But okay, so I'm really just scraping it on. I wanted to put it on a little thinner. Usually when I use it as a strip, it is a little bit more melted than this, but so that's why I just scraped off a little bit there. Alright, so mostly I applied down, even though I was kind of working it around different ways. So I applied down, so I'm going to pull it off going up. And I'm just going to do half of it at a time here. So as I'm pushing the strip into the sugar, that's another way to make sure that you're going to get the most hair out. Though I'm just going to give a little tension down on my nose to hold it tight and pull it out. I'm just going to get a new strip. Alright. So by rubbing this on, it really helps the strip stick to the sugar paste, and it also is going to pull out a little more hair. So take your time to push that on. So then I'm just going to hold my nose down here. I'm also lifting my forehead up to kind of pull that skin up tight. And there we go. So that looks really nice. I guess for just a little bit more of a demonstration, I'm going to do above one brow. Now with sugar, if you've done waxing before, familiar with waxing sugar, you always want to go against the hair growth and pull with the hair growth, where with waxing, it's the opposite. With waxing, you put it on with the hair growth and pull against. So sugaring is put on against the hair growth, pull with. Against, pull with. Alright, so let's see, I think I'm going to do like most of that. So I put it on against the hair growth this way. I'm going to pull it off this way. Okay, There we go. Now I just folded the 1-inch edge down so I can reuse the other side of this strip that wasn't used. And then I'm just holding the skin tight here and pulling it down. That got a really good chunk there. Okay. So next, underneath the brow is a little sensitive. I'm actually going to put a little bit of powder on the skin. If you have oily skin, you want to definitely make sure your skin's cleansed before you start. Also, if you have any makeup on, eyeshadow, stuff like that, make sure all that's taken off before you get started. But the powder does kind of protect some of that sensitive skin that's underneath. Alright, so this next method that I'm going to demonstrate, I call it the stick method. I guess I can show you what I'm doing here. I'm just getting a little piece of sugar out on the tip of the stick. Let's just start a little bit on the easy side on the top. So put it on against the hair growth. Alright. Now one way to, especially if your hair is a little stubborn, a couple ways you can make sure to get the most hair in one swipe. You can leave it sit on for a little bit, and by letting it sit on, it just sort of, because of the pH of the lemon juice in the sugar, it actually will affect how the sugar is attached into the follicle. So by letting it sit on, it sort of loosens those hairs up and makes it easier for them to come out. Another thing is you can actually just keep this is called molding, where you just kind of keep going over, and you don't have to put a lot of pressure. Sometimes it's natural to think, putting more pressure is going to get the better result, but actually you don't need very much pressure with sugaring, and sometimes that can actually work against you. So just not very much pressure, but just molding back and forth a couple times. Now when you're ready to pull the sugar with the stick, you're just going to come to the end and drop it flat and put some pressure against the skin and then flick. And if the whole thing doesn't come off, just kind of do it again. Put some pressure, flick. Put some pressure, flick. And that's how you can use the stick. Now the good thing about using the stick is that you can actually reuse this piece of sugar. Where with the strip, once you had the sugar on the strip, it'd be very difficult to reuse. Some people actually do reuse it. But this is easier as far as using, having your product last longer. Alright, so I'm molding, and actually as I'm molding, I'm also, shaping, kind of looking at how I want the arch to go, so I'm kind of coming up into that area that I want to arch. Okay, now I'm ready to pull, so put some pressure, flick, put some pressure, flick, pressure, flick. Alright. Just going to get this piece off. Put some pressure, flick, pressure, flick. Alright. Looks much better. You can see the difference between the two brows now. Alright, so I'm actually just going to go over to this brow. Let me see. I wanted to show you the one thing with my fingers. Let's see. I wonder if I should do that now. Alright. To do that, I'm actually going to use a glove. And these actually aren't my best gloves. I don't have my best gloves, so now I'm right-handed, so that's the way I'm going to do this. So just to save on product, I'm actually going to use this little piece of sugar. It's still good to use. And okay, so I'm going against the hair growth, putting it on. Now, one nice thing about using your hand is that it does add a little extra heat to the sugar from your hand. And sometimes that can work against you if the sugar's already soft enough, or the person that or if you're doing yourself and your skin is already really hot, you don't want to add extra heat. So that's why it's good to have some other options. But sometimes by adding that extra heat, you help the sugar kind of melt into the hair, and you get a little bit better result with pulling out more hair. Okay, so I'm losing my vision. Okay, there we go. So it's just kind of the same idea where you're putting that little bit of pressure at the end and then flicking. So I'll do a little bit more here. Now, when you're first learning sugaring, sometimes it feels kind of awkward to try to shape your brows, or anybody's brows, with just using your finger, especially if you've been used to waxing and you're used to applying it with the stick. So the stick method, at least for me, was a nice transition. So I used the stick method for quite a while before I started getting comfortable with my finger. And I just got more comfortable with my finger because I was using it on other areas of the body, doing an underarm or doing an upper lip, and so I was just getting more and more comfortable with using my hand, and I felt more control. And so as I got more control with using my hand, then I started doing brows with the hand. So now when I kind of get to the end here and I'm doing some specific shaping, I actually go with the hair and pull against. You don't get as good of results, so that's why you want to do the opposite. But when I'm shaping, just because of the way the hair lays, sometimes that's easier for me to get in there and get the exact shape that I want. Okay. So actually, all of my brows are looking very, very good. Just from that first time around. Sometimes I take extra time just kind of going around and shaping and kind of getting any last little hairs, but actually I'm looking at them in the mirror and they look great. So I'm just gonna stop while I'm ahead. Sometimes it's easy with brows to get carried away and start taking away too much. And I just want to thank you for watching this video. Hopefully it was helpful. And if you have questions about any of the different methods or about the product itself, which I actually make myself, but I also sell it. It's called My Gold Sugar, and you can go to mygoldsugar.com to learn more about the product. And I have 5 different flavors that you can choose from, and you can purchase it right there in either one jar or in cases if you need a lot of sugar. So thank you, and I will see you in the next video.